In this video we're looking at the video background element that's included with the OptimizePress PlusPack. Now I've got a blank page here. I'm going to jump in to this row. The video backgrounds are applied to the individual rows that we use within our template design. So I have a row here, so if I click on the pencil icon and open it up, scroll on down, you'll see here at the bottom we now have the video background options here. So what we can choose is YouTube. So we can pull a video from YouTube, or we can choose URL. Now with the URL, it's a case of you entering in just the URL of the video, maybe where it's stored on another host. So maybe if you're using Amazon S3 or another hosting service, if you can obtain the URL from that service, then you can come and put that URL in place here. And you've got different formats. You've got .webm or .ogv or the MP4. So make sure you've got one of them three. If you haven't got hosting service like that and you want to use video, then easiest option is probably to upload it to YouTube, and then you can stream it from there. We probably will add others here, more recent, things like Vimeo and Wistia and others, or even options to embed, but that'll be coming in later on, possibly in other features if required. The easiest solution is obviously using YouTube. Now for this, I have jumped over to YouTube, and I'm going to go here and grab a video of these fish that are swimming here. So I'm just going to grab this share URL. I'm going to jump back into here. I'm going to pop in my URL there. Now it asks you for the video dimensions here. This is for the aspect ratio of the video, so it basically can play the video in the correct aspect ratio so it doesn't look distorted and squashed up. Now if you leave these blank, that's absolutely fine. It will default down to the YouTube size. 560 is the width, 315 is the height. That's what it'll default to. You can go back into YouTube, and if you choose share, embed and show more, scroll on down here, you've got some other dimension sizes if you want to sort of pick them out. So you could choose something like 853 by 480. You could put that in. That just means it's going to show that video in that aspect ratio, so it'll be much clearer when it's used larger. So if you actually had larger screens, that would work. But don't worry too much about the dimensions. I'm going to pop in 853 by 480 it was, I think. So I'm going to put that in. Yeah, don't worry too much about this. If you just leave it blank, it'll default and it'll still look good on your video. So I'm going to put in just them settings for now. You can leave them blank or put them in the same, either or. We then have an option here for video overlay, which can include an image and a color option as well. So I'll come back to that in a second. What I'm going to do first, I'm just going to go down here. I'm going to mute this video and I'm going to update. And you'll notice right away in the top left hand corner we get this little play icon. That's telling us that this row has a video background in it. So you can edit, when you're editing this row, you can see which ones have video backgrounds. Now let me save and close, and then I'll refresh this page, and you can just see this little tiny black bar that's appeared at the top here. That's because I haven't done anything with the row, so it's pretty much playing the video in the row exactly what I've styled. So what we do, we go back in, and if you imagine using this on the template, you're going to probably have more content within your row. So I'm going to put in some spacing, maybe about 500 pixels here, just to give it a nice wide space so it drops down. I'll save and close again, and then I'll reload this page. Okay, so we've now got the full video. It's gone full width because it's stretching out the size of my row. I'm using a full width template here, so if you went to blank template and chose the full width one, your video is going to push out to the full width of that page. If you used a different template with a smaller width, I'll show you that in a moment. Obviously the video is only going to stretch to that width of that template row. So let's go back in the live editor. You can then add content over this, so you could, if you wanted to, I've got a large spacer. If I wanted to put in a headline, let's just put in a nice big headline here. Of course we could style this a different color as well. We know the video was quite dark, so I could maybe put in some white text there. Just set it to bold so it stands out. Insert, save and close, then reload this page again. If you're using video background, you'll probably have other elements over the video itself. You might have text, titles, opt-in forms, things, pop-up boxes that happen using an overlay optimizer. But you can see here we've got some text above, and you can add other elements. Obviously, we've got the large spacing in as well, so it's obviously pushing this down so you can see it. So that's really the video background. Now let's jump back in and look at some of the other options you can do with it. We edit this row here. I'm going to delete my text just so you can keep it simple here looking at it. Let's edit the row. Let's go back down, and we have the option here to add a image. So you can put an image which is overlaid over the video, and that means if you had maybe some kind of sort of pattern that you wanted over your video, you could choose to add an image, and then you could also set the video overlay opacity. So that means if we put an image over it, we can set if we want the image to be very faded or more visible by increasing the opacity, so it's setting it more to 100%. What I'll do is I'll show you with an example image here. Let's just go into my media library, and I'm just going to pull up, let's just pull up this image. It's not very big, so what I'll do is I'll set this to stretch, so it's going to stretch the entire width. You also have tile, cover and center, so I'm going to choose stretch because the image is not as big as this screen size. And with the video overlay, if I set it to 0, you're not going to really see that image. If I just increase it a little bit, it'll be sort of visible, slightly visible in the background. So let's click update, and then we'll save and close, reload this page, and there you can see that video, the image comes in nice, and then the video kicks in and starts playing. So it's kind of a good way actually to have a holder, like a placeholder at the start of your video. It's possible to use an image. However, you can still see that image behind, so if it's not a relevant image to the video, it can look quite odd, like in this example. And let's just go and increase that opacity just so you can see what we're doing with the controls here. And if I take the opacity up to maybe about 63, we're now going to see that image more prominent in the video. It's going to be far more visible throughout. So let's reload. There you go. Now the video is going to play, and the image is going to be more visible with the video. And if we keep increasing that opacity, if we take it up to 100%, then obviously the image is going to be overlaid over the video, so you wouldn't see the video at all. Now this would work if you had a particular video, maybe some kind of motion video, and you then had a graphical element over the top of it, and you might want to increase that opacity so that you could sort of had some movement behind. You might just have some animated sort of text moving or something, or maybe some sort of colors like moving across the screen, and then you overlaid it with a pattern. So that might be an example of how you could use that. The other option we have is to remove the image completely and just use a color. So you could just choose to set a color like white, and I'll leave that opacity where it is. If we increase it, we'll just have a white color, and if we decrease it, you'll just have that faded option. It'll probably look more grey. Let's just leave it around where it was. Save and close. Reload. So that's that white color. It's obviously giving it a more of a grey look, and there you can see it sort of overlays it. This would be good when you do have just motion backgrounds, or if you have sort of a light video and you want to maybe overlay it with some dark color just so you can put some light text on it, something like that. If you're having text on a video that can't be seen, this is where that overlay can really help adjust the sort of contrast between the text and the video behind, making it easier for people to read. So black text right now on this would be very easy to read. It'd look quite nice here. So that's really the settings with the overlay and the video inside. What I'm going to do is show you this on a smaller template. So the main things you want to keep note is the aspect ratio. You can change that if you like, that's entirely up to you, or you can just leave it as default. And if you do use an image, of course, make sure the image is obviously appropriate with that video, and change the opacity levels here. The video will play sound, so you can just obviously unmute it here and it will play the sound if you wanted to have the video audio coming through as well. Now I'm going to show you an example of this same video background being used on the rounded content template. So I went to blank templates and I chose the rounded content template, which is style number 3, and you can see here we've got the row. It's got that rounded border all the way around this content, so the content inside is not going full width. I've got the same video in there I'm using. You can see it's gone in. Let's go in the live editor. We'll just look at the settings here. I've included a spacer, a large spacer, just so you can see the video for this example. And if we scroll on down here, you can see I've got the same video entered in, and we've also left the aspect ratio as default. There's no color or any other settings put in here, and I've just muted the video. Now, one thing you might have noticed is that the video itself was not sitting flush to the end of the border. Let's just go back. You can see the video is not sitting flush with this content at the end here. Now that is because the row itself has not been ticked to be a full width row. So if I go back into the row, you can see this option here. If I tick that, that's to make it a full width row. So it's going to push the row to the full width of this content template. And what I'll do is I'll just drop a headline underneath just so you can see an example if it was in use. Okay, so we'll save and close, reload the page. Now you can see the video has dropped to the, or is pushed out to the full width here. And what's actually happened is our element has actually come up above, or come inside that row, because it actually is inside that same row as the video background. It's obviously the wrong text color. So if what I would do is add a new row here, and then we could pull that down, drop that there. And by all means, you could obviously have your text overlay the video. You can have everything overlay the video, same elements and things that you use in all of your templates. Let's just reload that so we can see the text below. So there you have it. You can have your video at the top, and you can have all the text as normal, building the page directly below. Next, I'm just going to quickly show you that same video being used inside one of the templates that we've built, and you can see it here. I haven't adjusted the font styles. The example is, there's the video, it's showing full screen inside that row within the template, and then obviously you can just use it as you like. You can scroll down, you can add them into other rows as well. I'll just show you the settings for this one. If I go in here, you can see the little play icon at the top left, edit this, scroll on down, you can see we've got the same video URL in here. We've got no dimensions, which is using the default aspect ratio, and there's no other settings. I've just muted the video audio there. So that's the settings. That's the same video background being used with the template. If you were to use this and it was a different type of video, you would probably add an overlay of some kind of color with the maybe darker or lighter color so you could see your font, obviously depending on what style and color font you want to have on your template. So that is a video background element. You can have lots of fun with it. You can set the video as well to be a full page video by checking this box here. This allows you to push the video through the entire screen. So have some fun with that. You can play around. You can pretty much make your whole website or one landing page with an entire video in the background. So that's what that option does. You set it to full page video. If we tick that, click update, you can save and close the page and reload. You can then see the entire video comes in and covers the full page. So that's the video background in the OptimizePress PlusPack.